Before the pandemic, many people were too busy trying to juggle between their home, social, work, and school life. But now the pandemic has us all stuck in our homes, many people have decided to try to find a different way to spend their time rather than watching TV or looking at their phones all day. Now, many people have decided to pick up a hobby in order to find a solution. One of these hobbies being jigsaw puzzles. Today, I'd like to inform you on the origins and histories of jigsaw puzzles, as well as how they became a hobby. Let's first begin with the origins. Jigsaw puzzles, according to an article published by .co, was to be created by John Pillsbury in 1767. As a map maker, it was natural that his first jigsaw puzzle was created of the world. At the time, they were called jigsaw puzzles but dissected mats, because he would place mats over hardwood and then cut the pieces up using a handsaw. His intentions behind creating jigsaw puzzles was to let students use them as a teaching tool to teach geography. Seeing that it was very popular among students, he decided to create 7 more themed around countries and continents, such as Europe, Asia, and North America, and selling them before dying in 1769. Now that we know the origins of jigsaw puzzles, let's look at the history and how modern jigsaw puzzles differ from their predecessors. It's pointed out in article, it is stated in the article of My Modern Net that the Second Industrial Revolution was the sole reason as to why jigsaw puzzles became cheaper and faster to produce. The first reason was the manufacturers started to use lithographic printing, a type of style of mixing water and oil together to create ink, putting the design onto a metal roller and printing it out. The reason why for this was because the image was much more defined compared to the old method of taping a map over hardwood. The second change was switching from hardwood to over to cardboard or softwood, because softwood and cardboard was much easier to cut and much easier to produce. The last major reason is the invention of the table saw. The table saw compared to its handsaw was much less time consuming and energy consuming, and it allowed many manufacturers to create more complex interlockings. Later in the 1930s, table saws were obsolete compared to their hydraulic pressings. They would work where the cardboard would be placed into the machine, and then the hydraulic pressing would press down with steel blades, cutting up into jigsaw pieces. The reason why so many companies went out of business was because the hydraulic pressings were too expensive, and only a few corporations could buy them, therefore creating a monopoly over the jigsaw puzzle industry. Now that we have established the history and evolution of jigsaw puzzles, let's look at how they became a phenomenon. Before the 1930s, jigsaw puzzles were on a decline because many people were too busy or were not interested in buying them. In Andy Williams' book, Jigsaw Puzzles, Piecing Together History, she points out the Great Depression was the sole reason as to why jigsaw puzzles boomed back into popularity. As we all know, the Great Depression is when the economy failed, the stock market crashed, and many people were forced out of jobs, unable to pay their bills and buy basic necessities. Because of this, because there are so many people with free times and unhappy, jigsaw puzzles were boomed back into popularity because it was cheap and allowed people to distract themselves from their miserable situations. With the introduction of the internet, streaming services, and video games, jigsaw puzzles have gone into a decline in popularity. However, there's still a decent amount of people willing to follow this small hobby because many people are interested with the limitless amount of pictures that can be placed onto the jigsaw puzzles. To recap, today we talked about the origins and history of jigsaw puzzles, as well as how it became somewhat relevant over the last 200 years. In times of uncertainty, where everyone is screaming at each other on the internet, and where a virus is being fought without being seen, many people need something to ease their mind off of and to relax. So can I offer you a jigsaw puzzle in these trying times?